Hi, everybody. I tried this a little bit earlier and I don't know what happened. I had to restart my phone. But I want to say happy Friday to everybody. Dr. Ken Berry, he is fantastic. And if you haven't caught him, he has some awesome YouTube videos. So check out Dr. Ken Berry on YouTube and you'll be amazed what he has to say. But he's been begging me to do a Facebook Live. As you guys know, I don't really like to do them that much. But we are looking for Dr. Ken Berry, and I will add him. And if you have some questions, throw them out there because we want to talk about everything keto, right? So if you want to know anything from me or Dr. Ken Berry, just throw those comments out there and we will get those asked. So Ken, you asked for it. Where are you, babe? I don't even know how to do this. Let's see. Where is he? Ken, what's going on? Where are you, babe? I hope everybody's having a great Friday. Fridays are awesome, right? Let's see. Where is the guy? Ken. If you don't know, I hate doing Facebook Lives. I really do. I was going to be down fishing with my kiddos this afternoon, but I didn't know what was going to happen. It was supposed to be raining and then nice. So I saw you. Where'd you go? I'm here. I'm waiting for you, Ken. Ken! He's messaging me. So anyway, the glasses look so cute. Thank you. So we were going to discuss oxidative priority, which looks like I might just be doing it by myself. So let's add, how do I do that? Ken Berry, add, there you are, add. Yay! Hey!
There you are.
We connect.
Yes. See, I told you we could do this. It's good to see you again.
You know what? It's good to see you too. I when I said I would do this with you, it was supposed to be thunderstorming, and now it's really nice out. And
yeah,
I want
I'm
to go
jealous.
fishing.
It looks really nice out. As soon as we're done, you should go fishing immediately.
Hey everybody, Dr. Ken Berry's here. He asked me to do this at 8 p.m. and I said, are you kidding? I'm usually sleeping by then.
Yeah, I forgot about that part. Yeah.
Well, you know, when, mornings are special to me. It's the only time that I have alone.
Yeah.
And, with the homeschooling and all of that, it just gets to be a little loud.
Yeah, I totally get that. I told Maria the other day that Nisha's the same way. If you speak to her after 8 p.m. or before 7 a.m., it could be dangerous to your health, right? Just don't do it.
No, and it's not that I don't like anybody that late. I'm just usually in my jammies by then and super chill. So yeah. Anyway,
I hear
but
you.
if you didn't know, Dr. Ken and I will be on the fall low carb cruise. So if you haven't and you're free, that comes out of Orlando, right, Ken?
I think that's right. Yeah, you guys should join us.
Absolutely, and we're gonna hit Disney World for a few days with the kiddos before.
Smart, very nice. What are we going to talk about today, Maria?
Well, I thought that we could touch on the whole idea of oxidative priority a little bit. I think that we're just, I can't talk about it enough. With the popularity of keto, there's just so much bad information out there and different reasons of doing keto. But I thought, oxidative priority, we could talk about so many things. We could talk about alcohol, which nobody wants to talk about on a Friday afternoon, right?
But we absolutely should talk about that because so many people are stalled on their weight loss journey or their health journey, and they're like, I don't understand, I'm doing everything right, and they forget about those 3 vodka and sodas every night and what that's doing to their metabolic priorities. So yeah, let's talk about that for sure.
Yeah, and that is oxidative priority number one is alcohol. And that's because it's totally toxic to your body. You know, they're just empty calories. And the same reason that when I work with somebody who is recovering alcoholic, they're jumping to sugar. And that's because the alcohol is turning to sugar. No matter if it's a 0-carb vodka or whatever it is, I mean, it is going to metabolize into sugar. So, you know, that's just, you know, and I live in Wisconsin, and I'm the girl that talks about no alcohol and no dairy. So I'm like the total, you know,
you're an outcast.
It's like blasphemy here.
Yeah, right. But I think it's very important to talk about because there are so many videos on YouTube about what alcohol is keto and is this keto and is that keto. And I'm very blunt with people. I tell them, hey, you know, every now and then Nisha and I have a whatever, but be under no pretense is that keto. There is no keto alcohol. I don't even think there's a keto-ish alcohol. That doesn't exist. Alcohol is poison to the human body. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We enjoy the effects of it sometimes, and it should be very rarely that we enjoy that. Yeah. But on a daily basis, alcohol really plays no part in any kind of health or weight loss journey, because when you drink alcohol, everything else stops because your liver has to get rid of that poison, right, Maria?
Absolutely. And yeah, there's no judging here. Craig likes to have his, little drink here or there. It doesn't work well with me, just with my background of PCOS. I'm very sensitive with my hormones when it comes to alcohol. If anybody, especially women after a certain age, they'll notice that maybe they can fall asleep, but they keep waking up throughout the night. Alcohol has a great effect on that with men and women, that
Absolutely.
whole estrogen dominance thing. But, you know, that's another reason why people think that they're going to lose weight in the summertime, and they often gain it. And that's because the constant barbecues and parties, and they're not taking care of their sleep schedule because it's light out all the time, right? Yep.
The most anti-keto alcohol of all is beer, in my opinion. I mean, beer is just a sugar, starch, carb coma that stops any kind of progress you're making on whatever journey you're trying to go on, unless you're trying to journey towards alcoholism and obesity, then it'll help you with that. But otherwise, beer's for teenagers. And once you're a grown person, you need to put the beer away. I'm sorry. And I know that probably offends people, but I used to be that guy, man, that would drink a 6-pack of beer Friday night. But no, if I want in any way to feel like I want to feel on a daily basis, and if I want to have some muscles instead of, you know, in the South, we call it table muscle, and that's what hangs over your belly, right?
Yeah, that beer belly is really an estrogen belly.
It's exactly right, because so many guys don't know this. And I want every college guy, every guy in their teens and 20s, if you're listening to this, shut up and listen closely. Alcohol lowers your testosterone and raises your estrogen. It does it for both men and women, right? But, Absolutely. You know, if a guy's trying to get swole in the gym and he's having a 6-pack afterwards, you can forget that, Bubba. That ain't going to happen. Yeah, look at that. That's no alcohol right there. So, yeah, if you want to lower your testosterone and raise your estrogen, then drink lots of beer, drink lots of wine and vodka and gin and all that stuff, because it'll do it for you. Absolutely.
What I find interesting is a lot of people will go to the gym Friday morning and kill it really hard with the weights, and then they go out because then they feel like they deserve to go out and drink Friday night. Yeah, but then they wake up Saturday with smaller muscles because they had no testosterone. And as women, we need that too to build
Absolutely.
our strong muscles. But, you know, Craig, we're in the trust tree, everybody. Okay, everybody that's watching. So Craig used to brew his own beer. And this was when I loved him just the same. It was fine. He made his own wine. He was really good at making his own craft beers. But he quit that a couple years ago. And then we were visiting my family up in the Northwoods of Wisconsin. And he said, I think something's wrong with their water. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I always get really sick, if you know what I mean, when I'm there. I was like, well, I don't. And I drink the water. It's, you know, it's well water. It's natural spring water. He's like, oh, it's beer. He's like, I haven't had beer in forever. And at the cabin, I'm drinking your dad's, you know, he always bought him this special beer and he would have diarrhea. And he's like, I never thought I had a gluten issue, but man, it sure really ripped him apart.
Absolutely. And I know you talk about this, Maria, but I want to say it again for all the women listening. you want some testosterone. That's vital to keep your bones strong, to keep your muscles strong, and to keep this strong as well. Women need testosterone just like men do, not nearly as much, but you guys got to have your testosterone if you want to look and feel like you want to look and feel.
Oh yeah. And if you have, high cholesterol numbers, cholesterol is trying to make those healthy hormones. So that's going to cause your cholesterol to go up if you're lacking in those, those hormones, whether it be
Absolutely.
thyroid, progesterone, testosterone, whatever.
Absolutely. So oxidative priority number one is alcohol. Your body has to stop everything to get rid of the alcohol because it's basically a poison. And so as soon as our body's gotten rid of those three gin and sodas that we drink, what's oxidative priority number two, Maria?
Nobody likes to hear this either, but it's those exogenous ketones.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody needs to hear it. Sometimes we need to hear stuff we don't want to hear because even though the truth hurts, it is yet the truth. So tell us about exogenous ketones and how we don't need those.
Well, I was lucky enough to have dinner with Dr. Stephen Finney of Low Carb.
Lucky.
I know, right? He was on Low Carb Cruise Alaska, and I got to pick his brain every night. And I just asked him without, interrupting. I just said, "What are your thoughts on exogenous ketones?" He's like, "It's an expensive way to make ketones from your liver, and if you use that, there's no reason to use your own body fat for fuel because you're using that to make ketones. High ketones do not mean high fat burning. Mine are actually really low, but that's because I'm always exercising in a fasted state, and that's going to cause me to get rid of those ketones because I'm using them for energy. But I'm still in a ketogenic state. High ketones do not mean higher fat burning.
Exactly.
So do not get carried away with doing shots of MCT oil, exogenous ketones, anything like that.
Exactly. I 100% agree. And I've got a couple of videos on my YouTube channel about just that thing because there are so many people trying to capitalize off the popularity of the ketogenic way of eating. And so that's one way you can make money is to sell exogenous ketones. And please, if anybody is listening, if you're just starting the ketogenic way, you do not need any products whatsoever. The only product you might need is one of Maria's cookbooks. Other than that, you don't need any bars, any pills, any powders, any exogenous ketones, any drink mixes. You don't need any of that to do keto and to do keto well.
Right. That's the thing. Like when I was consulting people, 10, 15 years ago, I didn't get so much confusion. And now they're like, now I'm so confused. I don't know what to do. And it's really sad because you don't need to spend all this money on this expensive things. I get a question all the time is, do you have any suggestions for a protein bar? And I was like, yeah, they're called beef sticks.
Yeah, it's called ribs. Eat some ribs. Eat some chicken legs. Yeah. All the time, what's your favorite collagen supplement? And I'm like, the membrane on the back of ribs and the gristle in my steak and the chicken wings and the tendon and the cartilage at the end of the chicken bone. That's my collagen supplement. And I'm not joking. You can look my house over. I don't have a collagen supplement. I don't buy that stuff. Most people will trim the gristle off their steak and push that to the side, and they won't eat the skin of their chicken leg, and they won't eat, the membrane on the back of their ribs, and then they'll go buy a collagen supplement. And I'm like, dude, you just threw away $100 worth of collagen, and then you're going to buy this other collagen that you have no idea how it was manufactured.
Yes, you're right.
Ridiculous, right? Like you're going to trust some Chinese factory to make your collagen, and then the most bioabsorbable collagen on the planet, which is steak gristle, the membrane on ribs, and the chicken skin and the gristle and the tendon, you're going to throw that away. That's what your body wants the most.
Yeah. Can you hear that plane go over? Sorry.
Sounds like a small one.
outside.
Sounds like a Cessna 140.
Yeah, we're right by the St. Croix River. And a bunch of people own airplanes and they fly around and stuff.
Nice. What have you done today? Have you been out on your river raft today? Your little canoe?
I was all ready to do my kayak ride, and thunderstorms were coming, and I've gotten caught a few times on that river in thunderstorms, and there was one time I was pretty scared.
Ah, gotcha. What
I
I want to see
decided
you do, I want to see you bow hunt from the canoe, right? I want you to drop a buck
I see
from the
deer all
canoe.
the time.
That would be awesome.
I actually do see deer all the time,
Yeah,
but
I bet you
I
do. I
just
saw
use
some
my
video
camera.
the other day. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
use my
Okay.
camera.
So we've got oxidative priority number 1, number 2 out of the way. What's number 3?
Number 3 is protein.
Protein. Tell
Right.
us about
Uh,
protein.
so you want to hit your protein goal, because if you want luscious locks, if you want nice nails, if you want all of that, you need amino acids for all of that. But you have to find out your protein goal per se, which is different for everybody. And that's why, I mean, free thing for everybody. If you want to find out your macros, there's mariamindbodyhealth.com search calculator, and it's about 0.7, 0.8 times your lean mass. So that's going to be really individual, and you want to hit that goal. This is not a high protein suggestion whatsoever.
Right.
But again, if you're eating those real foods, you'll get there. It's
You're going to
easy.
get
A
there.
pork
That's right.
chop's like 53 grams. So it's not, I'm not saying an excessive amounts of, I'm not saying like 6 chicken breasts whatsoever,
No. Oh,
but there's a big people think that protein is going to turn into chocolate cake, and that's not happening.
no, that's right.
Right. Um, there, when we spoke on the cruise together, this last cruise, there was a lot of female speakers talking about how you need to do, add in carbohydrates for hormone health. If you eat your protein goal, you will make enough of that glucose that you need for your hormones. So even us, we're pretty much carnivores, making plenty of, what I need. It's demand driven, with zero carbohydrates, basically.
Absolutely. So let me ask you that. That's a hot topic, especially for women in the ketogenic community. Do you look amazing. Your hair, look at this head of hair. What the heck? Do you ever do carb ups, carb cycling? Do you ever do that ever? And if not,
No,
why not?
I've run marathons on this. I lift weights on this. I've never done a carb up. When I do, if I would ever add in carbohydrates, sugar cravings come back. My energy tanks. I even talked to Dave Feldman about this, because we tested my cholesterol, which is high. I'm a hyperlipid responder. And whenever I do add in carbohydrates, my energy tanks, and I'm like the Energizer Bunny all day long. So anyway, no, it doesn't work well for me. I get that signs of PCOS come back and all of that. High androgens come back.
Yep.
No, you can make enough of that for your hormone health, even if you're a zero carb carnivore.
Yeah, I totally agree with that 100%. And a great example of that in our heritage is, what about the Inuit people, the Inuit women? There was zero carb in their environment. So how did they do carb ups, and how were they able to reproduce and have children? And I mean, obviously they did, because the Inuit still exist. So obviously carb ups are not necessary. Now, some few women feel like they need them, and I don't think it's the end of the world, but I don't think you just should automatically think, oh, I have an X chromosome, therefore I need to do that. I just don't think that's legitimate.
Right. I mean, a lot of cholesterol makes healthy hormones. Carbs don't.
Yes. Yes.
But the whole idea of, oh gosh, where was I going with that? I was going to say something on that topic, but no, carb ups are just a way for me to, like, it's not a good situation. But, I know what I was going to say. Women are notorious for doing fat bombs and fat fasts.
Yeah.
And they're so full, they don't hit their protein goal. They might be at 50 grams, which is not enough for your hair, your hormones, and all of that. And they might have some thyroid issues, and they're doing these fat bombs, way too much dairy, all of that, caffeine, bulletproof coffee, all of that. And they get frustrated and they give up, because they think that this is, a quick way to gain weight, and they will gain weight that way. Fat bombs, they're meant to be used as a tool to help you get into this lifestyle, get rid of the sugar cravings. But once you're past that, if you're living off of fat bombs and not eating, like you said, chicken wings and ribs and all of that real stuff, you're probably going to be really disappointed in what the scale says.
Oh, I totally agree. And I'm always having to tell somebody, yeah, I have a little butter in my coffee in the mornings, but that's because I am a ravenous country boy who grew up eating breakfast all my life. And I like to keep my eating into it. Well, I've been carnivore for the last 6 months. And so I eat in maybe 2 hours of the day. And so sometimes I'll get hungry and I'll put just a little butter in my coffee, not 2 tablespoons, right? But
and
maybe
you're a tall guy, right?
and I'm a big guy. That's right. Exactly. And so I'll put maybe a tablespoon and a pinch of salt in my coffee that curbs whatever little hunger pain I've got. I feel great. I've got good energy. I've got good ketones. You don't have to, like, people are like, oh, my bulletproof coffee. I'd put 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of MCT oil, and, half a jar of ghee. And I'm like, no, that's way too
500
much.
calorie milkshake right there.
Right. And I've never seen anybody gain weight by doing that, but I have seen many, many, many women stall. And they're like, I don't understand why I'm stalling. I'm eating all this fat. And I'm like, yeah, you got to back up on the fat in your coffee. Like, you're having this much coffee and this much fat. That's just too much fat.
Yeah. You want to get into that negative fat flux.
Exactly. And a lot of, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that kind of leads me to, the next oxidative priority is carbs, and then fat is that last one.
Yes.
You still need to, you need to burn all of those before you burn body fat.
Right.
For fuel.
Right. And so that's our whole goal. If we have weight to lose, or if we want to maintain our weight, because your body's always trying to store some fat. That's just kind of an evolutionarily appropriate thing, because you never know when there's going to be a famine. But we don't have famines these days, right? And so we don't really need to store any body fat, because there's a McWindy Kings on every corner. There's not going to be a famine anytime soon. And so we don't need to store that 5, 10, 20, 30 pounds of body fat that we might have needed 20,000 years ago. You might have needed that, right, to get through the winter, but we don't need that anymore. And so this is the way that you don't store that body fat, because you got to burn it.
Absolutely. We live in a world of abundance, and and in the summertime, we actually were meant to put on some weight, and that's why people slept less. They would eat more in terms for those long winters. I mean, if you think about hibernating bears, they love to gorge on berries and fruit and all this fructose to help them fatten up for their long winter nap, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting. They actually become insulin resistant in the late summer and the early fall, and then they just gorge on carbs, which is fruit, all the fruit they can eat, all the berries they can eat, and I'm sure they eat anything they come upon, but they really go all out for the berries and the fruit, knowing that, well, not knowing, but instinctually knowing that if I eat all those carbs, I'm insulin resistant, I'm going to pack on the weight, then I can go get in my cave and sleep for 2 or 3 months, and I won't starve to death. Yeah, that's why they do that. That's why they gorge on the berries and the fruit, is to gain weight.
Absolutely. Yep. And they will. I mean, they'll leave their dens a little bit. I've seen them when I bow hunt.
I just love
you. Of course, right?
Nisha's a bow hunter as well, right? Did you know that? Nisha's a bow hunter.
No, I did not.
Yes. She's the hunter of the family. I love hunting, and I grew up hunting, but I'm too busy now to hunt. Plus I got my ADD, baby. I can't do it. But I can't sit still in a stand. I can't do it. But she can go, and she's a great little bow hunter. She uses a crossbow sometimes, but she also has a compound bow, and she loves it. And hopefully before long we'll have more time for her to do that, because she really does love it.
Awesome. We have so much to talk about. I hope that she comes to Italy with us.
Well, she's trying to work on it right now.
Awesome. But what else did you want to discuss? I have, I know questions have been coming in, but my gosh.
I know. Can you scroll back and see a question or two? I can't see them from my end. We'll take a few questions.
Well, to find out your lean mass, I'm lucky enough to live right next to a college. The best way to find out your lean mass is underwater weighing, but who has the opportunity to do that?
Right.
Colleges.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll charge you a small fee because they want to teach their students how to test that. If you use a bioelectrical impedance, those are those scales that you'll get at Target or Amazon or whatever. Those are going to be inaccurate because they send an electrical signal, and you need to be hydrated for it to work properly. Right. And most of the time, we're really dehydrated, especially when you're first starting out keto. I have a few pictures of what different body types look like. Most women really overestimate their lean mass because it's really hard to say, you know, like I was very overweight at one point, and it's hard to imagine that you're over 50% body fat, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
try to check out the pictures so you can kind of guesstimate what your lean mass is.
Another
But
good
let's
way
see,
for people to do it for about $100 is to get a DEXA scan, and you need a doctor's order to do that. But if you ask your doc, especially if you're a woman, he shouldn't have any problem ordering a DEXA scan because that's also how we check your bone density, right? And so ask your doc if he'll do that. And then when you get to the facility, tell them that you also want them to figure your lean body mass, lean body percentage, and your fat percentage as well, because they have to push a button on the machine or something. So if you don't ask for that up front, you might not get it. But if you ask, that machine will do that as well. And it's, even if you have to pay cash, it's about $100.
Well, you know, being Dr. Ken, what else would you suggest getting tested if you go to the doctor? Let's talk about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it depends obviously on your gender, your age, what condition you're in. So let's just take a prototypical 45-year-old woman who's got 35% body fat, got a little bit of insulin resistance, her blood pressure's high every now and then. What should she have checked? How's that? Is that a good example?
Yay.
Okay. So she needs a full lab panel of labs. And let me tell you guys, you may not know this, but a lot of times, especially if you go to your doctor for your annual exam, your insurance will not pay for all the labs that you need to have checked. They'll pay for a complete blood count, a basic metabolic panel, a lipid panel, of course, because we got to know what your total cholesterol is, and a urine, and that's about it. That's about all your insurance will pay for. If you want to have other stuff checked, your doctor's either going to have to record some other symptoms and signs and diagnoses, or you're going to have to get out your checkbook and just pay for the labs. Most doctors can get a sweetheart deal with their lab company if they'll just ask. And so you can pay, like literally you can get $100 lab test for $10 if your doctor's made that deal with the lab. And I have a deal with LabCorp like that. You can get like $800 worth of labs for $100 if you pay cash. You can't file your insurance. You have to pay cash right up front. And so I have a ton of people who come to me because they know I'll order anything, because explain to me the logic of a doctor who says, oh no, you don't need to know that about your health. What? If somebody's taken the time to look up a test and study it and research it and print it out and bring it to my office and say, hey, I want you to check this coronary artery calcium score, or I want you to check my ferritin level. What doctor, what temerity to say, oh, you don't need that. I mean, please don't get me triggered here, Maria, because that's ridiculous. If you know enough to ask for it, go ahead.
Well, my husband Craig has Lyme disease, and ferritin is something that a lot of doctors poo-pooed because they're like, he's a man. Why would his ferritin be low? Why would his iron be low? He's not menstruating. He didn't have any blood loss. Why would that be low? And sure enough, I mean, he has so many signs of, you know, all of this information, but I feel that like our local doctors were like, I don't even know what to do with that.
Yep.
Because
and so,
he's a carnivore, right?
Right,
it's
exactly.
Not like he's not eating red meat.
Yeah, but if you're a doctor and you don't know what a test would be used for, maybe you should Google it, first of all. And secondly, I mean, obviously your patient's smarter than you because they know to ask for that test. Maybe you should just shut up and order it. I don't know. Just a thought, docs. But yeah, so that woman, that prototypical woman we talked about, she needs a complete blood count, no doubt. And she does need a lipid panel because I want to know what her triglycerides and her HDL are. She also needs a complete metabolic panel because without that, she can have severe fatty liver, and I won't see any evidence of that on a basic metabolic panel because it doesn't check the liver. So she could have severe fatty liver, and you'd have no idea from that once-a-year lab work that your doctor checks. Right?
Okay, so this question I get all the time. So she has a fatty liver. Can she eat keto?
Oh my God, yes. If you have a fatty liver and you actually want to cure your fatty liver, you must eat keto. There's nothing else that'll fix that faster than keto or carnivore. Nothing fixes it as fast as that. And you know, the big pharma houses are busy trying to come up with a pill for fatty liver, because it's absolutely an epidemic of fatty liver. There are 12-year-old children now who have fatty liver from all the fructose that they're drinking and eating. And so, you know, Merck and Pfizer, they're trying their damnedest to come up with a pill to treat that.
So sad.
And all the doctors got to do is say, stop drinking Coke, stop drinking orange juice, eat keto, the end. Boom, I cured you. No extra charge.
The Gatorade, my goodness.
Yeah, Gatorade's good for you.
I thought that when I was a kid that we had bad food. I mean, going around the grocery store, I saw hot pink string cheese. Like,
yep.
What?
Yeah,
that's not
natural.
Fruit punch, string cheese doesn't even sound good.
No, but you're from Wisconsin, so if you say that pink string cheese is not real cheese, I'm going to believe you, because you should know.
Thank you.
So, okay, so the lipid panel, complete metabolic panel. Another thing that docs almost never check unless you ask is an A1C. Now, here's the thing with this woman I'm talking about. She has type 2 diabetes, but when she goes into her doctor, he doesn't know that. She hasn't been diagnosed. He checks her labs fasting, right? And so her blood sugar is maybe 90, 95. And he's like, yep, everything looks pretty good. Your blood sugar's a little high. It's not bad, though. We'll check it again next year. So she gets to live another year with all the ravages of type 2 diabetes because he didn't check an A1C. And if he had checked that, he would have seen that her A1C is 7.9. She's a type 2 diabetic. But when he checks just those limited labs, he's blind to that. He has no idea she's a type 2 diabetic. So she's got fatty liver and type 2 diabetes, and this doctor has no idea. He tells her that all your labs are fine. I'll see you in a year. And she gets to go and poison herself some more and suffer more permanent damage because that lazy guy didn't do his job.
It's really frustrating. I mean, my grandpa died of type 2 diabetes, and when she gets a fasting glucose done, the doctor will say 140 is normal.
Yeah. It's like, what? No, it's not. But so many doctors will say, it's 105. That's a little high. It's not bad. Just cut back on the fat and we'll see you again in a year.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
What? This is stuff that people have told me. They've come and like, my doctor refuses to check an A1C, but for the last 3 years, my fasting blood sugar has been 99, 102, and 107. But he literally refused, said, no, I will not check an A1C. Your blood sugar is not high enough to justify that. And when I checked their A1C, it was 7.9. They were a type 2 diabetic, uncontrolled type 2 diabetic, and had no idea. How's that not malpractice? You tell me, okay? Another thing, now Maria's full of energy. She's like the Energizer Bunny with extra batteries, right? But if she came to me and said, I'm draggy, I'm tired, even though I sleep well, I still feel tired during the day. My skin's really dry. I'm always constipated. I would check a full thyroid panel. Now, if this Maria came to me, I probably would just check a TSH and a free T4 because she does not act or look like she has any thyroid issues. But if she were having any degree of fatigue, any degree of constipation, her hair, her skin, her nails weren't right, we would check a full thyroid panel. And that includes a TSH, a free T4, a free T3, a TPO, a TG antibody, a reverse T3, and I would also check her adrenal glands to boot. Now, go to your doctor and ask them to check all that, and they'll slam the door in your face. They're just not going to check that because, first of all, they've never heard of half those tests. And secondly, they're afraid they're going to get in trouble with the insurance company or with the medical board if they start checking all these tests because they don't even know what they mean. But if any woman or any man, for that matter, is having any degree of fatigue, if they're like, I'm gaining weight and I don't really understand why, I try to be active, but I don't really. Yeah, and the classic thing for a woman to say is, I want to, but I don't really want to. And if I ever hear that, then we're going to check your female hormones. We're going to check a testosterone, a progesterone, and an estradiol. And a lot of people will say, well, wait a minute, why are you checking a testosterone and a progesterone? That's nothing to concern yourself with. Those are huge deals. If a woman's testosterone is low, she's not going to want to go get in the canoe and go for it. She's not going to want to swim with the whales. She's going to want to lay on the couch. She might drag herself into the kitchen and throw a TV dinner in the microwave. But as far as having that gumption, that get up and go, that vibrancy, You're not going to have that with low testosterone. You're not going to, and with low progesterone, you're not going to be able to sleep. It's going to be really hard to lose weight. All these things happen when your hormones start to leave you as you get older. And if a doctor is not interested in helping his female patients feel their best and be their best, then he shouldn't practice medicine on females. He should only take care of men.
Right. Move on. Find a
Move
different
on.
doctor.
Go be a vet or something. I don't know. Yeah, and like Carl Franklin says, if you can't change your doctor, then change your doctor.
Good
I love that.
advice.
Isn't that good? I love that. Yeah. But that's a pretty complete lab, and that's what I would check on you, Maria. If you came to see me, I would check all those things, especially the first time I ever saw you, and then we would know you definitely have insulin resistance, or you don't. A C-peptide would be another test I would check, and even if your A1C was normal and your blood sugar was normal, if your C-peptide's even 1/10 of a point high, you have some degree of insulin resistance. And for a lot of people, that's not a disease. That's just a genetic predisposition. They're the people that wouldn't starve to death during the winter. They could eat 2 acorns and half a rat's tail, and they'd be fine because their metabolism is so conservative, it would store all that, right? And so
they're
people
actually the ones that should live forever. You know, they think it's a bad thing, but it's like, no, you were the ones that lived during the famine. You know,
exactly
the
right.
With the fast metabolism that would die.
Exactly right. Yeah, like when I was a teenager, I would have died in a famine because I had to literally eat every 2 hours. If I wrote down what I ate, you'd be like, "There's no way a human ate that." But dude, I used to eat, man. But I don't eat nearly that much now. But yeah, that's the point. Insulin resistance is not necessarily a disease unless you don't know about it. Then it can ravage your system because you're eating the wrong foods.
Right. I mean,
right?
I'm grateful that I was on the swim team when I was in high school, and I was 60 pounds heavier. I was a really good swimmer. But all of my girlfriends, they were always lean, and they would go to Tasty Treat or Lickety Split to get ice cream. And at the young age of 17, I just realized I cannot do that every time after practice or a meet or whatever. And, you know, now they're getting to be in their 40s, and they're having a hard time breaking that habit where I had to break it at an early age. And I'm almost grateful because, you know, my palate is different than I was when I was a child.
Yeah. And that's a great point right there. A lot of people, there's so many guys here in the South that they live on chicken strips and ketchup. Like that's literally their balanced diet. That right. And a sweetened tea. That's literally their meal twice a day, every day for 25 years. And they wonder why they weigh 400 pounds and why they have type 2 diabetes. But the point I'm trying to make is that your palate is so blunted when you eat that kind of food. And a lot of those guys, if you're like, here, try this Brussels sprout, they're like, that tastes like crap, right? That's an immature palate. That's basically the palate of a teenage boy. If you don't enjoy the more complex flavors, the differences between qualities of beef, the difference between a good sardine versus a cheap sardine, I mean, that's your fault. You can actually improve your palate. Just like you build muscles, you can build your palate by branching out and trying more and more keto foods. Have you found that?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, like people that are picky eaters or children that just like buttered noodles, that type of stuff, that's low gut bacteria. And I had earaches when I was a child all the time. So I was on antibiotics all the time.
Same.
And so I remember making my best friend's mom cry. Sorry if you're listening, Margie Guziak. I made her cry because I never ate her food. And she just had a breakdown one day. And I was like, wow, I am a really picky eater. And, you know, just helping with the gut bacteria. I mean, my kids eat sardines. You wouldn't believe what they eat. You know, when they're on the cruise, they ate escargot. And they're like, what is this, Mom? It tastes like pizza because it's just garlic, right?
Right.
It's a snail. And they're like, what?
Cool. I love it. But yeah, I think that a restricted palate is a sign of either just an uneducated palate or a microbiome issue, or you just haven't tried enough real food in your life to know that there's more to life than just sweet and salty. There's more to life than that.
Right. And, you know, talking about being in the South, I had the great opportunity to go to Muriel's in New Orleans. It's one of the best restaurants down there. And the owner, she had us have this really special dinner. They had swerve sweetened desserts for us. It was awesome. But we talked about life and food, and she said, you know, here in New Orleans, we live to eat. We don't eat to live. And that was, when she told me that, that was about 8 years ago. And it really struck with me because I used to be that. I lived to eat, and now
Yeah.
I eat to live.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. And there's nothing that really trains your palate and re-educates your entire system, your gut bacteria, your brain, your tongue. I'm eating this for health. I'm not eating this for just orgasmic pleasure. That's not why you eat. Now, some of the stuff we eat, Maria, is pretty darn orgasmic, right? But
I know,
you
right?
got to
I
get
want good
there.
food. I get that. I get that.
Yes, definitely, definitely. But that doesn't mean it has to be crap and it has to be bad for you.
No, I don't want to eat chicken breast and broccoli, and I don't.
Oh.
And I don't, you know, like, you know, I want good tasting food, and that's why, you know, I work with different ingredients to make it really like use the umamis in food to really get that flavor going on. But again, like, that's why I don't actually like to go to restaurants too much, because I feel like I can make it so much better at home.
Yeah. You know how you said on the cruise that you're a salt snob?
I guess I am.
Nisha and I love to cook, and that's what we did for the first 3 months that we were dating is we cooked together. So she would come over and we would cook and we would make stuff and we would just experiment and play. And we're food snobs. Like very often we'll go to a restaurant and we'll eat a meal and we'll leave and we'll be like, well, that was underwhelming, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're in the business of feeding me and supposed to have delicious food, and I was very underwhelmed by your entree, so that's bad.
I love sauce, and they never bring me enough sauce.
Same. I'm the same way. I love it. I love it. Well, this has been a blast. See, this wasn't that bad, was it?
Oh, I love talking to you, Ken. It wasn't that. I was just, you know, me. I'm an introvert. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. Well, it's my job to pull you out of your little shell and
Thank
get you off that river and in front of people, because you've got a beautiful, powerful, needed message. You got to share this with. I know you share a lot. I know you do, but I mean, you've got to share this because people need to hear your story and hear what you're all about, because that's one of the things that's going to help people to change their life.
Well, thank you so much. You are a blessing to many too.
Well, this has been a blast. We should do this again sometime.
Absolutely, for sure. And we'll definitely do something when we're on the cruise ship together too. So everybody,
Yes.
join us either on the cruise, or we'll let you know when we do another like whole live thing on there.
Yeah, and maybe you and Nisha can do some bow practice if they've got the equipment. I don't know.
We'll teach the men how to shoot.
Yeah, she could teach me a thing or two, no doubt. All right, lady, it was a pleasure talking to you. I'll see you next time.
All right, have a good one. Bye, everybody. Happy Friday.
Bye-bye.